Hi everyone, in this video we are going to discuss alternative sources of energy. So now we have previously discussed biofuels and how those can be used as an additional source of energy or a renewable source of energy in replacement of fossil fuels, but there are about 6 other ones that I want you to be familiar with, okay? So the first one is normally the most obvious, it's the one most people can come up with, and that's solar power. So I'm going to give you a couple numbers for each one of these. So for the solar power, right now we're at 0.2% consumption and about 0.04% production, and this is globally. Now, solar power is something you just simply take the sunlight and you convert it into electrical energy, and then that goes out into our homes and everything, and we have electricity at work, at our schools, and so on and so forth. Biggest problem with solar energy right now is it's not very efficient. On average, most of our solar panels are about 15% efficient. That number has definitely gone up over the years, and certain places are better than others with their solar panels, but not everyone. All right, number 2, we like to talk about wind power. Now, so for wind power, we're at about 0.4% of our global consumption is wind power, and about 2.9% of our global production is for wind, so that's kind of neat. So what's really neat about wind power is you take this wind energy essentially, and then you convert the wind to electrical energy. Same type of process, it all goes through kinetics and mechanical to electrical, but you do follow this process. Big negative for wind is that it requires a lot of land if you're going to do it actually on ground, but alternatively you can go and do this out in the ocean, so just off the coast where it's super windy, and you can actually take advantage of all that wind energy that's naturally there. Number 3, we like to talk about hydro, so that's the water part, electric. So we're taking water and eventually converting it to electricity. Right now, we have about 3.8% of consumption is due to hydroelectric power, but about 7.9% production, so a lot higher. So this is a better source, or we've actually been able to use it a little bit better. So hydroelectric power is pretty simple. You have water, it's up very high, it drops down, it spins a turbine, and then you're able to take that turbine mechanical energy, eventually convert it to electrical energy. Great source. The biggest issue is your water. It's hard to get it up to a high source, it's hard to keep it moving, and it's very difficult to have it sit in like a cyclical way, so you keep doing it instead of just having it start here and end here, or start here and end here. It's difficult to embrace that cycle. All right, number 4. The fourth one is kind of fun, and we talk about fuel cells, and we'll talk about this next semester a little bit, but essentially a fuel cell just embraces the fact that hydrogen is extremely explosive. And so a fuel cell is basically just doing the combustion of hydrogen gas, so it treats hydrogen gas with oxygen gas and you create water. Now, it's very difficult to get numbers on consumption and production because we're really low on that right now. We're not super big into our fuel cells. So we're seeing about 0.25% consumption and about 0.1% production. These are all estimates. For this one only, these are all estimates. The other numbers are actually real for 2014 data. Now, this is the hydrogen combustion. Doesn't work, well, it does work pretty well, but it's just not a global solution yet, and so we're just having to work that out and eventually get it out to developing countries. But what's really neat about fuel cells is they can be used as batteries, and so that's a very unique thing that a fuel cell can provide that other sources of energy cannot. All right, number 5, geothermal. This one's neat. So we talked about how our surface of our planet, or the Earth's surface, can absorb infrared radiation, or that incident radiation coming from the sun. And so what that means is our actual surface of our Earth is a source of energy, so we can use that heat that's absorbed from the sun. So for geothermal energy, we consume about 0.1% and we produce about 0.41%, so not very much, but it is a very interesting source of energy. And so the big thing we need to think about is that the incoming incident radiation from the sun is absorbed in our surface, but we also have naturally occurring chemicals like carbon-14 that undergo radioactive decay, and that is always releasing energy, so that also is looped in here with geothermal. Now to my favorite one, number 6, nuclear. Nuclear chemistry is the coolest chemistry in the entire world. You basically have one atom sitting here and you hit it with a bunch of neutrons or incoming radiation, high energy radiation, and then it boom splits apart, and it basically goes through this awesome transformation, and it goes from uranium to barium and krypton, so it changes from one element to another. But when you do that, there's an inherent extreme release of energy, and that energy can be captured and then converted to electrical energy, so on and so forth, and it's beautiful. And we're going to spend a lot of time on this next semester, but I just absolutely love nuclear chemistry. Right now, 2.6% of our global consumption is based on nuclear chemistry, but we actually produce a lot of it. It's very close to about 20% production, so that's pretty neat. The bad thing about nuclear chemistry is that we can have nuclear meltdowns. We do not have nuclear explosions. We have nuclear meltdowns. And so we've seen them in Chernobyl and Fukushima, and we'll go into that later. But there's definitely a negative component, and when it's bad, it's really, really bad for nuclear chemistry. All right, and the last one, just to give you relative numbers, we've already discussed biofuels. We know all about those. But basically, we're at 2.7% consumption, so very close to nuclear, but only 0.5% production, so much lower. All right, so now I'm just curious. There's no right or wrong answer. I've just given you just a little snap about every single piece. Here is my question. What is your favorite, so no right or wrong answer, I'm just curious. What is your favorite alternative source of energy? And I would like you to use one of the words that we just talked up here, set up there. Okay, go. All right, was there a correct answer? No, there was not a correct answer. As long as you typed in one of the words that I have written up here before, then your answer was correct. But I will tell you, like I already said, my personal favorite is nuclear. I think it's absolutely awesome. I think it's so neat that you can use fission to do all this awesome stuff and use a mass effect, convert it to energy. So here's the thing. There's so much information out there about all of these different sources of energy. If you're interested in one particularly, email me, contact TA, contact your teacher, and I will gladly give you as much information as I can about that. This stuff is really cool, and the more you know, the better you are. And we'll just say that the hotter dates you're going to get in the future. Not true, but we'll just pretend. Have a great week, guys. Bye.